Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on the Gooners and Gloves Podcast channel. In today's video, it's going to be the 21st Gooners and Gloves Podcast, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and reactions to the fight between Ennis and Chukadzhian that took place last night. This was a fight that I honestly really enjoyed. I thought it was entertaining. I thought both men fought their hearts out. Huge respect to both, and it's a fight that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys about. So I'm just going to go over firstly what I originally predicted compared to what actually happened, how the fight went, what I thought about the scorecards, what I thought about each individual performance, do a bit of an analysis of how the fight went, you know, that kind of thing, just a huge discussion around it. So pretty much let's just get straight into it. So as I said before, this is a fight that I thoroughly enjoyed, very entertaining, genuinely. Both men fought their hearts out. It was fought very fast paced throughout and was way better than their first fight. Of course, I mentioned in my original prediction video that the first fight was, kind of slow, not that entertaining, and for that reason a lot of people wrote this fight off, stating that it's going to be much of the same, it's not going to be entertaining, but it was the complete opposite. This was fast paced, entertaining, and very good from both. So let's first start with the results. So of course, Ennis won by unanimous decision. Now that means I half got my prediction right. So I did predict that Ennis would win, so I got that bit right. However, I did say that Ennis would win by stoppage, but of course that did not happen. Ennis won by unanimous decision. But that's just a credit to how well Chukadzhian did to avoid the power punches and land his own heavy shots as well. In the first fight, Chukadzhian kind of, he did well to avoid the power punches, but he didn't land that many of his own. But in this one, he did both. Not only did he avoid Ennis's power punches, but he also landed his own good power punches and even had Ennis like shaken a couple of times. So yeah, the fact, fair play to Chukadzhian, he proved me wrong, he didn't get stopped, and again, that's just a credit to how tough he is. Took some hard shots, got knocked down, but got up, kept going, kept landing his own power punches and taking Ennis's power shots. I did get the bit right where I said that Ennis would land more of his power shots, because by statistics Ennis did land more of his power shots in this one than he did in the last one, but it just shows how powerful, how strong Chukadzhian is. He's a very hard person to knock out. I did say this in my first video. I just thought that maybe Ennis would be able to stop him. So fair play to Chukadzhian, defended really well, good head movement, was getting hit with heavy shots, but to be honest, it's mainly due to his durability. Yes, he had pretty good head movement, pretty good movement, but he was still getting hit with a lot of shots. Like, Chukadzhian was still getting hit by a lot of shots, and Ennis did land a lot of his power shots. So it's mainly due to Chukadzhian's durability, but massive props to him. He did prove me wrong. Ennis did win, but it was by unanimous decision, not by stoppage. So that's a little comparison with my original prediction. So let's kind of do a little bit of a summary of how the fight went. So this fight, as I said, started off really fast, really fast. Both men, they clearly were, right from the get-go, they were hitting with some mean intentions, and that's something that actually surprised me. I thought this would be a bit of a slower start, but of course, as a boxing fan, I'm never going to complain when a fight instantly catches fire, and this one definitely did. Really good shots by both men in the first round. Ennis came out, and Ennis, I could tell, really came out like with some serious intentions. He was really loading up on those punches. He came out, he was pressing forward, loading up on the punches, and in the first half of the round, he was kind of getting the better of Chukadzhian, landing some decent shots and winning the round. But then Chukadzhian in the second half of the round got his way back in, landed a really nice left hook, which knocked Ennis off balance. He wasn't like hurt or anything, but he was knocked off balance, and it was a great shot, really good left hook by Chukadzhian that landed on the temple of Ennis, and that's something that his corner did kind of yell at him about when he went back to his corner. But yeah, a very fast start, both just swinging with mean intentions. I could tell that Chukadzhian didn't necessarily expect Ennis to come out so quickly, and obviously Chukadzhian just responded to Ennis's aggression, because Ennis just came out like with mean intentions. He was marching forward, he was really loading up his punches, trying to land combinations, and basically just trying to really land hard shots right from the get-go. But Chukadzhian didn't panic, he responded himself, landed a great left hook, landed some other good shots. But it was really, it was just one of those fights where they're kind of both just throwing heavy punches at each other, trying their best to land. In the first round, naturally, with both of them obviously not being tired or anything, not many of the shots were actually landing. Obviously, they were being avoided, they were being blocked. This is only the first round, so they're perfectly, fit enough to be able to defend themselves. But yeah, that's how the first round started, just very aggressive from both. Ennis landed good shots. Chukadzhian did actually hurt Ennis, knocked him off balance with a great left hook, so that was definitely a great way to start the fight. And the next three rounds kind of went the same, just huge aggression. But I would say, so the second round was the same as the first. Again, just big aggression from both men, just both throwing really heavy punches, and just kind of evenly landing, I would say. So that's how the first two rounds went, just kind of even punches being landed by both, even power punches. Ennis couple of times like slightly hurting Chukadzhian responding and then hurting Ennis. But round 3, I would say, was like the first decisive round where Ennis did a really good job to actually hurt Chukadzhian, landed a really good punch. Didn't quite get the knockdown, but he landed a great shot in round 3 to stun Chukadzhian, and Chukadzhian was definitely hurt. He was kind of cowering up a bit, more like behind his guard, obviously, because he was hurt, so he had to. But great, that was a great round for Ennis. That was a great round for Ennis, round 3. So round 3 was the first like round where it was clear who won it. I feel like the first 2 were a bit more even, and he could have really given it to either. But round 3 was the first even round, I would say. And it carried on in round 4. Again, round 4, Chukadzhian did well to recover from being hurt. Like, he was hurt. He definitely, he did have to cover up and take some punches from Ennis, but he recovered well in the 4th round, came back with his own punches. And one of the main things I think that Chukadzhian did so well on this night, and for me, this is one of the things that really was like frustrating Ennis, and it was really, really effective from Chukadzhian. Chukadzhian just didn't stop throwing punches. Anytime Ennis was throwing punches, Chukadzhian was throwing right back. And against a fighter like Ennis, this is a really good strategy, because Ennis is a fighter that's obviously very slick, very technical, really likes to get his combinations going, and likes to get into a rhythm and a flow. And until he reaches that rhythm and flow, he's a bit slower, but once he starts to get into that rhythm, he just starts landing punch after punch. However, Chukadzhian did really well to disrupt that rhythm by just always throwing punches, and that meant that he could never get into that rhythm, because, you know, Ennis might land a 3-punch combo and think, okay, finally, now I can start to go to town. But then all of a sudden, you know, 2 or 3 punches come back from Chukadzhian, and that leads to Ennis losing his composure, losing his flow, losing his rhythm, having to reset. And it's something I could tell was really, really frustrating Ennis throughout the evening, because literally anytime Ennis was landing good shots, like, he didn't even get a second of respite. He'd instantly have shots coming back at him, and obviously Ennis can't just walk straight into those shots. He has to defend, he has to block, because otherwise the judges see him just getting hit. So obviously he has to defend. And yeah, that's something that Chukadzhian did very, very well, and it was leading to Ennis getting very frustrated, very annoyed, and then that was leading to him making some sloppy mistakes, which then allowed Chukadzhian to capitalize. So that's something that I thought Chukadzhian did incredibly well throughout the evening, but I think from the mid stages of the fight is when he really began to implement it. Literally, just no matter how many punches Ennis would land, Chukadzhian would instantly throw back, and it's something that really, really was messing up Ennis's rhythm, because he'd always have to reset, he'd always have to defend, he'd always have to, you know, kind of like get himself back into the position of landing a good combination. So that was good. But we head into round 5, and of course this was one of Ennis's best rounds. Landed great shots, and of course dropped Chukadzhian with a really good combination, a really powerful hook, and then he was stunned, he was rocked, and eventually Ennis up to the pace, up to the tempo, great work, great shots to the body, and Chukadzhian did take a knee. So of course it wasn't like a direct punch that sent him down, but rather just the sheer amount of pressure and the fact that he was hurt. Chukadzhian did take a knee, so that was of course a 10-8 round for Ennis. So that was really, really good for Ennis, and I could tell that really lifted his mood, and from there he really began to be on the front foot. But again, it's the same thing. Like, yes, Ennis was boxing better and he was on the front foot and being more aggressive, but as I said before, because Chukadzhian was just always coming back with punches no matter what, it just meant that Ennis could not get into any kind of flow, any kind of rhythm. And so anytime he had like a dangerous punch land, and then of course that, you know, that's from an offensive perspective, but then of course we look at the defensive side, really good head movement by Chukadzhian, great blocking, obviously really good uses of the clinch. I mean, this is the stuff he did in the first fight as well, you know, using the clinch, good head movement, good moving around the ring. It's stuff that he used in the first fight as well, but I felt like he did very well to use it in this one as well. Of course, a very just really good way to avoid the power punches, because Ennis was really throwing, like throughout the evening, Ennis was really trying his best. Like, he was throwing some very powerful punches throughout the evening, and of course we know how powerful Ennis is, you know, 29 knockouts in 32 wins, or sorry, 33 now obviously with this one. So he certainly is a very, very hard puncher, you know, there's no doubt about that. And of course he's a southpaw, so it's always going to be harder to see his punches coming. But of course, because of that constant, I guess we can call it pressure. Yeah, I'd probably call it pressure, because it must feel very demoralizing when you're throwing hard punches at your opponent and they're just still standing there throwing back at you, because it's like, you know, what do I need to do to get this guy to stop throwing punches so much, and what do I need to do to just get him to slow down so I can, you know, take the fight down to my pace. So I would say all in all, the pace of the fight, as much as Ennis was pressing forward more and the aggressor and landing the good combinations, I would actually argue that the pace of the fight favored Chukadzhian more, of course, because as I said, Ennis, he likes the fight to maybe be a bit slower, take his time, you know, pick his punches, land good combinations, keep him at distance, use that effective slick boxing that we know he's capable of. So I definitely, you could tell that the pace of the fight didn't make Ennis too comfortable. And so for that reason, it was a win, but it was a tough win. It was definitely a tough win. But the rest of the fight kind of went the same. Both men landed good shots. They both kind of hurt each other at various points. Of course, Ennis had him hurt in the championship rounds, but then Chukadzhian had Ennis hurt in round 12. Not like completely shaken. Like in neither of these instances were either Chukadzhian or Ennis shaken, because by this point they were both tired, so their punches didn't have as much sting behind them. But they definitely did feel them. Maybe they were a bit buzzed, a bit dizzy, etc. But that's kind of how the rest of the fight went. Just neither man really backing up, both of them in the center of the ring, and that's why this fight was so entertaining. Both fighting in the center of the ring, just giving it their all, and it's something that we don't see often in boxing. And as I said, we didn't really see it in the first fight, so it was great to see them put on such an entertaining rematch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that's how the rest of the fight went. Both in the center of the ring, both punching, Ennis landing more, but Chukadzhian coming back with his own and showing heart, showing resilience. Both hurt at various points. Chukadzhian hurt in, I think, like rounds 9 and 10. Ennis hurt in the end of round 11 and also mid of round 12. But the final bell went. Of course, respectful embrace between both, because they gave us a great fight. The audience clearly really loved it, and genuinely such an entertaining fight, and massive respect to both. But of course, the result in the end was Ennis winning by unanimous decision. However, I think I have to talk about these scorecards, of course. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think anyone disagrees that Ennis won the fight. I mean, that was pretty clear. I think most people agree with Ennis winning. I certainly do. But how wide some of these scorecards are is ridiculous, okay? 119-107 is absolutely outrageous, okay? Completely just ridiculous scorecard, far too wide, far too wide. Yes, Ennis won, but there's no way he won 119-107, okay? That's way too wide, and that scorecard got a very loud boo from the crowd as well. 117-109, that was a pretty wide scorecard as well. 116-110 seems more fair, I'd say. 116-110, maybe like, yeah, I'd say that one's a lot more fair. 116-110, maybe like 115-111, but 119-107 and 117-109, far too wide in favor of Ennis. And I feel like I had to address these scorecards because they were just far too wide in favor of Ennis. And yeah, but Ennis did still win, don't get me wrong. This isn't me trying to argue that Ennis didn't win. Ennis was the deserved winner in the fight. He landed more punches, he landed more effective combinations. He had Chukadzhian hurt more than Chukadzhian had Ennis hurt. So not me trying to argue that Ennis didn't win, just felt like I should address that. The scorecards were far too wide, and I definitely didn't agree with them. And of course, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people booed in the arena, and not because of Ennis. Like, they weren't booing at Ennis, they were just booing at how wide the scorecards are, because of course Chukadzhian didn't get his deserved credit. So I just wanted to make sure that Chukadzhian's getting his deserved credit. He was really good. He landed great punches. His defense was really nice. Good head movement, good speed. And just definitely a tough fight for anyone. And I think Chukadzhian is definitely, as much as, he did end up losing, I think he definitely has reintroduced himself to the division. And I think he could definitely be a tough fight for anyone. But that's going to do it for my reaction to this fight. So all in all, a very entertaining fight. Two warriors who gave it their all, and massive respect to both. Definitely outperformed the first fight by a mile, which was great to see. And ultimately, Ennis remains undefeated. He remains the WBA welterweight champion. So of course we will see who he'll fight going forward. Of course, there's so many great fights out there for him, and it'd be cool to see Ennis, to see Chukadzhian fight again as well. And I think he could definitely give some he could definitely make it a difficult fight for anyone in the division. But for me, that's going to do it for the fight. Very entertaining. Ennis had him hurt, Chukadzhian had him hurt, equal amount of punches landed in the middle of the ring, but ultimately Ennis was the deserved unanimous decision victor. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know down below what you thought of the fight. Let me know what you thought of the scorecards, because of course the width of them was very, very controversial, and I agree with that controversy. It should not have been this wide, but massive respect to both. Great fight. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Remember to like and subscribe and turn on all notifications for more podcasts regularly. Of course, as always, a massive thank you for all the support that you guys show me. I mean, your support just means so much to me. It's absolutely incredible. And please do keep the comments coming. Please keep the engagement coming. I really appreciate it, and it just helps the channel grow. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. In terms of podcasts coming up, so of course today is the big game between Arsenal and Chelsea, so I will be releasing my reaction podcast to that tomorrow. And then boxing wise, I've got some more stuff on the way, so I'm going to be doing my Billum Smith Ramirez prediction. That's going to be midweek next week. I'll try and get that out, of course, before the weekend, because that fight's on Saturday. Really looking forward to the Billum Smith Ramirez fight, and please let me know what you guys are thinking of it. And then I'm also going to release my reaction podcast to the Amanda Serrano and what's her name, Katie Taylor 2 fight that's happening on Friday. So midweek I'll release the Billum Smith Ramirez prediction, and then late next week before the Saturday fight I'll release the the prediction fight to the Billam Smith-Ramirez fight, so do look forward to that. Of course, as I said, I've got the Arsenal-Chelsea reaction coming out tomorrow. That game's later today. And then, of course, it's the international break, so I will be doing Romania and also England reaction to their Nations League games. So, of course, they've both got 2 Nations League games, and I will be doing reactions to them. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on another podcast soon. Bye-bye.